my name is Jamie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I do videos on knitting and yarn and anything related to that. So if you're interested in those things, feel free to check out my other content, subscribe, all those things if you like what you see. This video is going to be a little bit different to my usual video style because it is going to be a once a year thing. I don't think I'm going to be doing this at any other point because it seems like a lot of effort to make, I can already see. So I think I'm just going to do it once a year and get it over and done with instead of doing it more frequently, which might be a good strategy, might be a terrible strategy. We'll find out. We'll see how I go next year. It has been a long year of knitting and I am going to show you everything I made in 2022, everything I finished in 2022, I should specify, that I still have with me. Some things I have either sold or given away or whatever, but the pile I have of stuff that I've kept is bigger than I care to admit. Unfortunately, I can't show every single thing. I've done some markets, I've had some commissions and things like that, so I haven't got every single piece with me that I've made this year, but I do have a lot. So hopefully it's still a good year roundup, even though it doesn't include everything. So yeah, hopefully this video isn't too long. I'm not going to talk about each piece for too long because it will go on for hours if I do. So I'm really just going to tell you what it is, if there's a pattern, what the yarn is, and if there's anything interesting about it. I feel like I have to say I will. The plan is to try everything on and actually show you me wearing them all. You don't even understand. I have 4 piles right next to me. I think I'm going to just go by pile. I have sorted them in 2 piles. So one pile is like sleeveless tops, so like vests, tanks, etc. And then I have like my chunky jumpers, which I'll definitely have to turn the aircon on to like put on. I have my less chunky jumpers, and then I have like miscellaneous things that don't really fall into any of those categories. I will flag that like I don't want the amount that I knit to make you feel bad about how much you have knit, because I do this at the moment pretty much full time. The first half of the year less so, but I was doing uni and I was like, I had a fair amount of time there as well. I design patterns as a job. I make YouTube video content, Instagram content. So for me, knitting isn't just something that I do for like an hour a day or not even. Like I spend a lot of my time knitting, and that has resulted in a lot of projects. I also traveled for a few months and I was doing a lot of knitting throughout my travels. And I don't want you to feel bad because I can take my time on projects. There are projects that are not going to appear in this video because they're not done and they've been on my needles for a long time. But yeah, this year specifically, I think it's probably been my biggest year for knitting. I've probably made the most projects. Some projects take me a day because they're made with chunky yarn, and then some projects take me months. So I just don't want you to feel, oh my god, like I only have like a quarter of that. Not even. You might have finished 2 pieces this year, and that is just as much of an accomplishment. It is not a competition or who can knit the most. Trust me, I wish I had less. I just don't have any control over myself and like need to constantly have projects going to keep myself stimulated, which is my own problem. So I just really don't want anyone to feel like this video is trying to imply that this is a normal amount to knit in a year, because it's really not. So I just wanted to flag that, and I am going to count as I go how many pieces we have so that I can figure out the grand total at the end. So I'm a bit scared to do that. Anyway, let's just get straight into the try on. Okay, so first up, this is also like no particular order, I'm just going through each pile. So this is my Nomad tank. It's actually the second one that I made. The first one was a pattern test. This one I made after the pattern came out. And I actually only weaved in the ends yesterday, even though I finished it a few months ago, because it was finally warm enough to wear it yesterday. So I was super keen, and now that's why it's at the top of the pile. So this was made in vegan yarn tencel yarn, which I got in the UK. The pattern is by Robin from Renewal Collective, and it is just such a summer staple. I'm so excited to wear this more. I finished this on my last day of travels in Europe, so I like really didn't get to wear it while it was summer, and then I came home and it was not summer anymore. So I'm really excited to wear this. It's super breathable for summer as well, like the tencel yarn. It was an interesting experience to knit, but yeah, I'm really happy. I wore it last night and it was super chill. Like I didn't get hot or anything obviously, and yeah, it was great. Okay, similar vibe and color scheme going on with this one. I will just flag this is too big for me. I mean, it depends on how you wear it, but I wanted a more tight fit similar to the last one, and I just like didn't calculate my gauge correctly. So this one's actually for sale, so that's why it's a little bit big. I cast it on a new one. I'm hoping will fit me a bit better in a different yarn. This is a pattern I just made up. I haven't written it. I don't know. It's just like a basic crop top with some eyelets at the bottom. And the yarn is from Woolen Works, and it's the chunky alpaca base in the shade Rufus, and I absolutely love knitting this. I knit this English style. I'm just obsessed with the tension. I think it turned out so nice, and like the stitches are just way neater than they usually are. So yeah, I'll just do a little spin. As yeah, you can see it's kind of like gaping at the back because it's not really the right fit for me. All right, so a similar vibe we've got going on. This is a crop top I made without using a pattern. It's basically just a 2x2 rib, and I made this in Lisbon. I bought the yarn there as well. It's the Ching Fibre Melted Baby Suri yarn, held double in the shade Illusion. I think that's the shade, I'm pretty sure. And I love this one so much, and I think it's going to get a lot of wear this summer, especially because it really brings out the tan. Okay, so this is a pretty unique piece. I don't really have anything like it. It was a test knit for Beatific Brenda. I hope I said that right. Beatific, I'm not sure how to say that. And it's the dotted line T-vest, I'm pretty sure is the name of the pattern. I tested this a while back, maybe in like May, probably. I don't remember, but it's made with chunky yarn, all from Love Spool Knits that was gifted, and I just loved all the pinks. The pattern calls for like 2 colors, but I was like, I'm doing 5 colors, I don't care. It makes this really cute kind of like dotted line effect. Okay, another improvised non-pattern piece. I made this while I was in France, I think. Yeah, I think it was in France. I did finish it when I was with my friend Lena. This is using the chunky mohair from Cardigans. I bought that in Copenhagen, and it's beautiful. It's very similar to a Take Care mohair from Wool & the Gang, but it's hand dyed. This piece is just like got this garter stitch drop stitch that I absolutely love doing. And yeah, this one's also for sale because I have too many knits, and I just, yeah, we can't keep them all. All right, so this is a happy hour top, and this one I made to sell. I wanted to use up my stash of the Petite Wool by Whack, and I figured I had enough to make this. I probably wouldn't recommend that yarn for the pattern, well, for obvious reasons, but also because it's a little bit lighter weight, and so this was meant to be a small, and it kind of turned into an extra small just by fit. So it does fit me, it was just quite tight. So yeah, this one's for sale, but my happy hour top pattern is one of my favorites. There'll be a few happy hour tops to show you. So I won't spend too much time talking about this one. So speaking of Whack, this is another one that is using their yarn. I think this was maybe like a week before everything went down that I finished this. It's also no pattern, it's improvised. It was my first time doing brioche, and I haven't done it since, but I actually love this piece. I think I was just, the shaping was a bit of a nightmare, and I couldn't be bothered figuring out again for another piece, but I definitely think I will try something else in brioche. Maybe I'll follow a pattern next time. But yeah, so it's got a lot of stretch, which I love. This piece is also for sale, and it's using the Merry Wool. What's the shade? I can't even remember the shade name, but I actually really love this yarn, so it breaks my heart that I couldn't get more because I am not buying from them anymore. But I love it. I just don't need so many pieces once again. So yeah, this is to sell, but yeah, so it's super cute. It reminds me of like a cupcake. Okay, you can see I'm going through my pile of stuff that was all in the for sale pile. So that's not going to be this whole video, but yeah, this one is also for sale. It's also improvised, and I made this one with yarn I bought in South Africa earlier in the year. It's all hand dyed, but I can't remember from the top of my head the dyers' names. I will go back and check, and I will put them on the screen. From my memory, it was 2 different dyers, but I bought 1 skein of each, and from like a local yarn store in Cape Town that I found, which was beautiful. I ended up putting it for sale because look, it does fit me, but it's a bit small for like what I was going for, and I just don't need another really like tight vest. And because of this yarn being quite chunky, I would prefer it to be a bit more oversized, or a little less fitted. and this is all I had yarn for, so I just couldn't really make it bigger. I'm still really, really happy with it, and yeah, I just love how these colors look together. It's like a beautiful hand-dyed chunky merino yarn and a really cool diagonal pattern. Okay, so this was a pretty recent cast off. I made this really not long ago, and it is a Heard It Through the Grapevine vest, which is my pattern, which has been recently released. It's the second one I made. This one is to sell. I mostly just made it because I wanted to try out the Lil Crazy Sexy Wool from Wool & Gang, which just came out and was on sale for Black Friday, so I have to get some, so I made sure to get enough to be able to make one of these, and it is the perfect yarn for this pattern, which is so exciting because it's like very similar yarn. It's like almost identical to the yarn I used. It's just it comes with less meterage per skein, but it works out to be pretty much the same in terms of price, and also I got it on sale, so that was great. And I really like this color and I wanted to try it out. I don't need to, so that's why it's for sale, but I did want to try out the yarn, and I really love knitting up the hurdle stitch, so I was like super keen to just make another one for fun. And yeah, this is how it came out. It's literally exactly the same size as the other one, so like the yarn is literally a perfect match. Yeah, so I made this for the last market, and it didn't sell, but that's okay. It'll be available at future markets as well. Okay, so this was like a super experimental piece that I made in Cape Town with 3 different yarns. So this is from Prestige Yarns. It's like a hand-dyed, kind of commercialized hand-dyed yarn. Got it from a local yarn store in the shade Mermaid Waters. This is Nitato Mohair Cloud. And this is from Manos del Uruguay, but I can't remember the name of the yarn, so I'll have to go back and check like on my Instagram or something. But I got this from a local yarn store as well, and I really loved like how the colors kind of matched, and so I don't even know how this came about, but I had a lot of fun. I don't really need it. It is pretty cool though. But yeah, this one's for sale, and it's like super stretchy, so I feel like it can fit a lot of sizes, so I love that about it. And I love the intarsia, and yeah, it's super sick. I probably wouldn't normally wear it with this white bra. I have like a dark green bra that looks better with, but can't be bothered changing. Okay, this is too big for me, but I just put it on anyway. I made it in like a medium to XL, I think, somewhere. But yeah, it's quite stretchy, so it's definitely, yeah, it's too big for me. It depends on the fit you really want. I would normally be like a small medium. It's just an improvised chunky vest. I used up all my scraps, well not all, but a lot of my scraps to make this. I made it for the markets, and there's not much else to say about it. It's really just like, I'm not going to go through all the different yarns. It's all different brands, but it's all, you know, super chunky yarn. And yeah, I love it. And this is the famous 3-hour vest that I knitted in 3 hours. I speed knitted it the day before a market, and I totally didn't need to because it didn't even sell. But that's besides the point. So this one's probably more my size. I just didn't have as much yarn, so I made it smaller. But I really like the colors that I did this in, and yeah, it's really cute. It's like a greeny, purpley, bluey vibe, and there's nothing else to say. Okay, we finished the for sale part of this pile, so we're moving on to my knits that I wear. So this is the Magnolia top, which I designed in collaboration with Hobby like at the start of the year, and it ended up only coming out in June, but I made this like in February, March, something like that. And this was such a joy to knit. I actually also made a baby version that I might have. Let me just check. Yes, I knew I had it. So this is the baby version. It's like I did 2 patterns. I did the adult and the children's version, but this is the smallest size that I did the sample in. So cute. I can't. It's actually adorable. I need to keep this just like to give to my own child one day. Like that's the plan. I was fully gonna gift it to like a family, like one of my cousin's kids, and then I like forgot, and like they definitely grew out of it at this point. So I think I'm just gonna keep this for my own child. It's so cute though. I'm obsessed. So this was made using the Hobby Diviner yarn in the shades Primrose and Rose. It's very easy to remember. This is Rose and this is Primrose, and I love it. It's got the beautiful cable design that I think kind of looks like a magnolia, and I ended up actually doing another magnolia pattern, which I'll show. Yeah, this one is available only on the Hobby Plus website. It's not available on my website or any of my other platforms, so yeah, but I think I have the link in the description for the Hobby Plus patterns that I have. But yeah, I like have already started wearing this one again since the weather's warmed up, and it's definitely going to be a summer staple this year for sure. Okay, so I told you there'd be more happy hour tops. So this is the OG happy hour top, the first one I made, and it was a labor of love. I only had 2 skeins, and it ended up being like a little bit too cropped for me. I still wear it, but like I probably should block it again because I feel like I just needed a bit longer, and it's a bit wider than what the pattern ended up being. So I ended up adjusting the length and the width. So this is like the width of a medium, but the length of like an extra small. So I ended up making another one, which you'll see is more true to the actual fit. But I kind of like this one. It's like super loose, and I wear it like all the time when it's warm because it's super loose and I don't have to stress about getting too hot. And this one is so near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love this one. This was like the start of what ended up being like my most successful pattern this year, and like I made so many other pattern like happy hour designs after that, and it's just been so nice to like see everyone like making their own, and I don't know, it's really close to my heart, and I don't think I'll ever stop wearing this one because it is just gorgeous. It's nothing like I don't really ever knit with these colors very often, and so yeah, it's super unique for that reason, just like within my wardrobe. I'm sure you've already kind of noticed. Also yarn, this is the Biography Monroe yarn, which I don't know how accessible it is. I got it from my local yarn store. It's kind of like a Hobby Diviner, like Wool Gang Feeling Good yarn, etc., but like held double. Like that's why this was held single, but the pattern will call for those yarns held double. This is a bit thicker than those yarns, but I really, really love knitting with it, and I have held back from buying more of it many times. Probably gonna buy some more at some point. Okay, this is my Nomad Tank test knit. So this was the first one that I made, and I still am obsessed with it so much. It's probably one of my favorite knits that I've made all year. And it's actually quite funny because I made this in an extra small when I was supposed to be testing the small, because I didn't know that the pattern came in an extra small, etc. And so I was reading the second number, and it was only like when I was like halfway through that I like mentioned something to Robin, and she was like, wait, what size are you testing? And I was like, oh my god, I think I'm doing the wrong size. But it actually ended up fitting me somehow. It's a super, super tight fit. I think when I made the second one, I made the right size. I think. I don't remember. But this one is, yeah, it's super, super tight, but I actually love it. It's a perfect fit in the end. Obviously, I think the small also would have fit, but this yarn is quite stretchy, and I knitted using really small needles, and it still worked up so fast, and I just loved every second of it, and that's why I made another one, because I enjoyed it so much. So this is using that same yarn I talked about before. It's the Prestige yarn, hand-dyed DK in the shade Mermaid Waters. So I was just using leftovers for the other piece, but this was the main piece that I made using that yarn. Okay, this is my Lieblings vest by Oops and Loops, and I absolutely love this one. I'm gonna say that about every single one, but I really do. I love this one. I made it in the Feeling Good yarn by Wool Gang in the shades Lilac Powder and Duck Egg Blue. My first time using that yarn, and was blown away, like super, super blown away. And I have loved using it since then. I made a few modifications to this one. I think I probably made it a bit more cropped, and I also made the sleeve trims. It's like a German short rows or something like that, but I ended up just doing less rows so they wouldn't be as long. I just wanted it to be just shorter, I don't know, but it turned out really great. I think in blocking something weird happened, and it kind of looks a bit ruffly, so I don't know, I might give it another block. But I took this one with me to Europe. I wore it quite a bit, and it was perfect for, like, I even layered it as well. Like, it was perfect to wear like in Amsterdam and London, where it wasn't quite as hot, at least when I was there. It was like low 20s. The pattern is absolutely brilliant. She writes incredible patterns. I will talk more about them when I show you my other piece I made from her patterns. But yeah, super, super detailed, and just couldn't recommend more. Heard Through the Grapevine vest number 1. This was my first sample of it, and it's, like I said, it fits exactly the same as the other one. I made this using the Amano Yarns Yarna, it's like a mouthful, in the shade Mint Choc Chip, I think, or Choc Mint, something like that, the green one. And love this color so, so, so much. I've worn this heaps already, even though I didn't even make it like that long ago. it's a perfect like in between seasons project, and yeah, it's just been great. I've loved like layering it and playing around with, you know, different ways to style it, and the pattern is out, so super happy. Okay, another travel knit. Also, I would not normally wear this with a bra, but I'm just genuinely too lazy to take it off, so just ignore my bra straps. But this is another Renewal Collective pattern called the Aran Crop, and I made this, but yeah, like I said, while I was traveling. I also bought the yarn while I was traveling. I got it in Amsterdam. I actually can't remember the name. I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm terrible at remembering this yarn's name. It's actually 2 different colorways held together to make kind of like a DK weight. I think it was like 2 like fingering or sock weight yarn, something like that. Something along those lines. And it worked perfectly. I'm in love with it. It's like a little garden. Like it literally looks like a fairy garden in a knit. This was, yeah, so much fun to knit. It was a great travel project, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this more in summer. Another travel project, and this is my camisole number 2. I think that's the number. Oh my god, I haven't talked about this in a while. I think it's number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and this is definitely a modified version. It is a lot more cropped than the original, so if you look it up and you're like, oh my god, that looks so different, I made it very cropped. It's using the cotton merino from Knitting for Olive, which I actually got from the Knitting for Olive store in Copenhagen, which was super cool, and I really liked working with this yarn. It was definitely like the smallest needle project I've ever done, but it was worth the labor of love, because this is definitely one of my favorite like travel projects that I did, and definitely one of my favorite like summer knits that I have now. It's just really well, it is like a summer knit, like by definition, like especially because I use the cotton merino, and it's super lightweight, and it's like some of the other pieces, it's like it's a summer knit, but like if it was really hot, it probably wouldn't be great. This one you can literally wear, like I wore this in like scorching hot Italian heat wave, like it was, but I wore it to the beach. It was great. So I'm really keen to wear this summer. Like I keep saying, but I'm going to Perth next week, and I'm going to wear this a ton. I think this might be my first Cara pattern that I've shown in this video, which is crazy because I feel like I've made a lot of patterns, so first of many. This is my most recent, second most recent Cara pattern. So Cara's Knit Egg is what I'm talking about, and oh my god, I always say it like that because that's how I read it. It's Cara's Knitting, not Cara's Knit Egg, so I'm really sorry. Anyway, this is the Hold the Line sweater, and I made a t-shirt version because I was going to run out of yarn, and I'm actually happy with that decision because it's more appropriate for the current weather I'm experiencing. Beautiful lace effect. I made it using Ching Fiber Melted Baby Suri, held double in the shade Stun. I'm super excited to wear this more because I don't feel like I've worn it enough, because I keep forgetting that I made it because I made it so quickly. Another Cara pattern. This time it's a test knit. Also wouldn't wear this with a bra, but once again, lazy. I actually did a video on my channel knitting up this whole test knit, so you can check that out to see the whole process. But this is the Oopsie Daisy top. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, and I am so happy with the yarns that I chose. I think I really slayed. Like, I'm really happy with how this came together. So this was using, all Ching Fiber except for the flower. So it was the DK yarn in the shade, oh my god, Spaceship. And then I think I used 2 strands of that, and then I used Melted Baby Suri in the shade Stun, like I just showed. 1 strand of that, and then I also used Markut. I can't remember. Yeah, I think I just alternated between those 2. So 1 strand of Stun and 1 strand of Markut, but I just alternated. I didn't use them at the same time. So just created like a whole lot of green, and I love it. And then the daisy is my leftovers from the magnolia top, so the rose and primrose shades. So this came together really well. I used like quite a bit of scrap yarn in that sense, because the Melted Baby Suri was all scraps and the flower was scraps, and then I just like had 1 skein of the, or maybe I had 2 skeins. I think I had 2 skeins of the Spaceship yarn that I like didn't know what to do with. So that was great, and yeah, I really love this piece. Okay, so the ends aren't weaved in, but we're going to count this as an FO because it is done. I just have to finish weaving in the ends. But this is actually the first time I'm wearing this like on camera, I think, at all. Like, I don't think I've even shown it on my Instagram at all. I can't remember. But This is my finished Ghost Whisperer top, which I finished like a month ago, and I used Woolworks Lace Series Silk in the shade Neon Lights. I couldn't not include it in my end of year video, and I probably should have just waited in the end before, but whatever. I'll do that before I wear it. I haven't had a chance to wear it yet, just like hasn't been hot enough, because this is obviously super lightweight. It's literally a lace weight yarn, and it's like I knitted it with 7mm needles, so it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna wear this unless it's boiling hot. But the weather has gotten a lot hotter, and I'm about to go to Perth where it's even hotter, so definitely will be getting somewhere out of this. And also the pattern, I didn't say, the pattern is by Park and Knit, which you can get on Ravelry, and highly recommended. Great pattern. Also my first time like knitting puff sleeves, and I just think they turned out so cute. This is my Patch Me If You Can vest mohair version that I made using the Knitato Mohair Cloud in the shades purple and pink. I'm sorry, I can't remember the names of the shades, forgive me, but I made this a long time ago, like almost a year ago, and it is, yeah, it's a pattern of mine. It's the mohair version of my Patch Me If You Can vest, so it's pretty similar but different size yarn and needles, and obviously different fiber, so it requires a different pattern, but it is, yeah, very similar in terms of the construction, and the final result hopefully looks quite similar. And yeah, I really love this one. I took this with me to Europe, and I did wear it quite a bit, also in South Africa. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Okay, so this is the chunky happy hour top, so not the same, different pattern altogether, but it is just like, yeah, the chunky version. I love this so much. I actually recently gave this, and a lot of these pieces, a good shave with my new fabric shaver. So this one had a lot of wear, but it's looking good as new now. I knitted this using the chunky wool from Stitch and Story, which was gifted. Unfortunately, they've actually gone out of business pretty recently, so you can't buy this yarn anymore, which is such a shame because I actually love this yarn and I really did recommend it a lot, and it's recommended for a lot of my patterns. So yeah, not the best situation. There are other equivalents out there, but yeah, I really did love this yarn. It was super affordable and high quality, and yeah, I'm really sad that they've gone out of business, but I'm happy that I got to use their yarn. I still have quite a bit of their yarn like stocked up now that I'm like, need to like make sure I use them on like worthwhile projects, because I might be able to get more. I can't even remember what shade this is, but doesn't really matter because you can't get it anyway. So yeah, I ended up writing a pattern for it, so that's also available if you prefer to do a chunky version. This one's knitted on like 10mm needles, whereas the other one is knitted on 7. I am back to rave about Oops and Loops again, because this is another pattern by her. This is the Snakes and Ladders top, Tank. I actually can't remember. I think it's Tank. And I made this while I was traveling. I bought the yarn also while I was traveling. It was the first yarn purchase I made in Europe, and it's the Ching Fiber. Oh my god, what's the name of the yarn? Oh my god, I can't remember the name of the yarn. I remember the shade. It was, oh my god, I have literally no idea. Okay, I'll put it on the screen. I've completely forgotten. Wow, it is like a single yarn. It's like a single ply, beautiful hand dyed. Oh my god, why can't I think of the name? It's driving me crazy. You definitely went to use a DK yarn on this. I did not, but we paid the price for that because it's quite holy, and it's like a lot smaller than what it would have been if I used the right yarn, but it still fits and fits well. I just had to add some sleeve trims, like some ribbing on the sleeve, on the armholes, so that it would not be so that it would just sit a bit wider and more or less cover my bra strap. But it's super lightweight and perfect for summer. I wore this a lot while traveling, and plan to wear it a lot this summer. So yeah, and once again, pattern incredible. Highly recommend. I know that a lot of you probably aren't knitting summer patterns at the moment, but when you get around to it, I highly recommend this pattern. Another happy hour top. So this was my second, the one that I definitely mentioned before. Much more accurate to the actual fit of the pattern. It's in a size small, and this one I used bulky weight yarn. So the pattern's actually written like you can use like a lightweight blown yarn, or you can use like a bulky weight yarn. This is like a chunky, like it's a bulky weight like hand dyed yarn that I got from Bella Filato Studio, and the shade was all dolled up. It was from her Valentine's Day collection, so I don't think you can get it anymore, but I saw this on my feed and fell in love with it, and I absolutely had to have it, so I like marked my calendar for when it was going to drop, and I impulsively bought enough that ended up being enough to make this. At the time, I actually had no idea what I was going to make with it. I knitted this up super quickly because it was absolutely addictive, and I was in love with this colorway. Still am. Still one of my favorite knits from the year. I'm obsessed with it. I think that the happy hour stitch pattern looks so cool with a like hand-dyed variegated yarn. Makes me want to make more using hand-dyed yarn. Yeah, it's just fun because now I have like so many different versions. Like I have the lightweight one, I have this one, and then I also have the chunky one, which is like even more kind of warm than this one. Nothing else I can say. I love this yarn. Obviously I love the pattern, but that's like very biased. Okay, this is our last sleeveless piece. So this is the Chunky Magnolia vest. So this is the same Magnolia stitch pattern that I use in the Magnolia top, but it's obviously in like super chunky yarn, and it's a vest, not a t-shirt. It's like bottom up, not top down. So the construction is super different, but obviously has that same stitch pattern. So gotta call it the Magnolia, whatever it is, Magnolia vest in this case. I use Wool in the Gang Crazy Sexy Wool in the shade Emerald Green. And I think this was actually my first time buying this yarn. I think I'd used it before, but I don't know. I think this is my first like proper project using this yarn, as far as I can remember. And yeah, I really love it. This is my pattern. This one is available on my website, so this isn't a hobby design, obviously, because it's using Wool in the Gang. Okay, moving along swiftly to our chunky jumper section of the video. So this is the Miss Ziggy jumper, which is my pattern, and this is actually the second sample that I did. This one is in the Chunky Wool by Stitch & Story, the same yarn I used for the Chunky Happy Hour top, like same color and everything. They gifted me quite a lot, so I was able to make a jumper and a vest, and I still have some left over, so crazy. But I love this yarn. I actually recently gave this one a good shave as well because it needed it. And so this one, yeah, it looks good as new. I'm just obsessed with using my fabric shaver to just make all my knits look brand new again. Definitely gonna go and like do that for the ones that I haven't done yet. I think I'm gonna make a YouTube video on it though, so stay tuned to see that, because I think a lot of people will be quite intrigued with how the fabric shaver works. But yeah, this is my Miss Ziggy jumper pattern. It's designed for like super chunky wool. This is definitely a lighter weight yarn, so it's not as heavy as the original, but both of them work, obviously, like they fit pretty similarly. But I love this pattern. I think the texture is delicious. Okay, these next next four technically, are all patterns that I literally just released like a few days ago. So very excited to finally have those out to finish off the year of pattern releases. It was a lot of work, but we did it. So this is the Shapeshift jumper, and I absolutely love it. It's quite oversized for me. I made it in a medium, but the pattern's like already oversized, so it kind of fits more like I guess a large normally would. But I really wanted this to be like a super just like big cozy knit for winter, which I'm not experiencing right now, but I know a lot of you are, so I wanted to design some chunky patterns for those of you who are experiencing some extreme cold right now. This is using Wool in the Gang Crazy Sexy Wool in the shades Pink Lemonade and Raspberry Pink. It's this really cool like stitch that creates these like blocks and shapes, and yeah, I just thought it was so cool, and I really love the color blocking. So this is the For the Love of Waffles jumper. You'll see the cardigan version soon. But yeah, this is the jumper version, also in my latest drop. I used Malabrigo Rasta in the shade Almond Blossom, and I am obsessed with this yarn. I couldn't sing its praises high enough. You're probably sick of me talking about how much I love this yarn. If you've watched any of my recent videos, I'm in love with it. That's all I have to say. This shade specifically is probably my favorite. It's really hard to choose a favorite, but I think this has to be my favorite. And I'm obsessed with this texture. It's just the squishiest, most delicious texture on the planet, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, that's all I have to say. So this is my pretzel pullover, and this is using Malabrigo Rasta as well, but this time in the shade Cucumber. Oh, I'm obsessed with this pattern as well. Honestly, these last three patterns I've just released have been probably some of my absolute favorites, and I can't pick a favorite. I love them all, but this one is definitely up there. I love this like thing I've got going on the side here with the slip stitches and the moss stitch, And the sleeve cables is probably my favorite detail of this pattern. I love how it came out. This is the first one I made. This is in the size small, and then I'll show you next the second one that I made. So this is the second one, also my Labriga Rasta, this time in the shade Sunset. This one I did in a size medium, and I actually filmed a tutorial or like walkthrough for this, this was the one I made in that video, but for this pattern, and that's on my channel, so you can check that out if you want to get the pattern and you want like a visual aid. That's what that's for. I'm absolutely in love with both of them. I think this one is obviously a bit longer and a bit wider, so it fits a little differently. Both of them fit me. It's just like depending on the fit that I want, really. The other one's a bit more fitted and cropped, but yeah, love them both, and I just love how this stitch pattern looks on this shade specifically. Okay, so this is the first of not many cardigans that I'm going to show you in this video, because I really didn't make many cardigans this year, and that is not by it wasn't intentional. I just don't know why I didn't make enough cardigans. I feel like I only made like 2, including this, which is crazy because I love this pattern. I love my cardigans, and I'm making one at the moment. Actually, I'm making 2 at the moment, so they just seem to be taking me a while, so maybe that's why I'm like, I feel like I've made more. But that's definitely next year I'm gonna make more cardigans. This is the For the Love of Waffles cardigan. This actually came first before the jumper. It looks brand new because I gave it a good shave. I think this was the first knit that I used my fabric shaver on, because it was very much in need of one, and that's because it is my most worn knit. I literally wear this so often, so it was very much in need of a freshen up, and it looks so nice and new now. It's using the chunky wool from Stitch and Story. Can't remember the shade name, but this is like it's kind of like a very muted blue. I really like the color. I think it's really what's the word? It's just like, it's subtle, but it's still colorful, and it goes with a lot. I probably wouldn't wear it with these shorts because I think they clash a bit, but I usually pair it with like black jeans, black shorts, that kind of thing. The sleeves are super balloony and light. This yarn is a bit lighter weight than, like I said, than like the super chunky yarns I've used. So it makes for like a really nice airy cardi. That's why it has so much wear, because it's really versatile for like different weather temperatures. So this is my first sample of the Miss Ziggy jumper, and obviously you can see it's quite different to the other one. I used 2 colors, and it's using like super chunky yarn. Like, this is the wool from WAC, gifted prior to everything that happened with Zara, for clarification. So this is the first sample that I made, and I absolutely love it. It's like a very autumn tone. That was like the vibe I was going for. I made this in autumn, I'm pretty sure. I think I did like a photo shoot with like all the autumn leaves behind me, and it was really cute. And I love how those photos came out. Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much because I've already talked about the pattern. I almost didn't include this one because I just assumed it was last year, but I'm actually pretty sure it was this year. I think I just like made it in January, so it feels like it was so long ago, it couldn't be this year. But I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the first knits I did this year. And this was a test knit for Cara, and it's the Funfetti sweater, which is the first of quite a few Funfetti patterns that she's done. And I love it so much. It's top down. I use a bunch of scrap yarns for the stripes. The main color I think is also the wool from WAC. Once again, really sorry I keep mentioning that brand, but anyway, absolutely love this one. I really need to wear it more. It sits in my other cupboard in my like sister's room that she no longer uses, with like all my really chunky knits, so I need to like wear it more. Definitely want to give it a shave as well, but I'm not going to be wearing it for a while because it is summer, so yeah. Okay, moving on to our less super chunky jumpers. So this one, it's like, I have such mixed feelings about this because I had such high hopes for this project. It's sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I talk so much about how excited I was about this project, how much I loved it. Even when I was finished, I was so excited, but just the way that it's like worn, like my elbow is like here. So it's really, I don't know what happened. I really did match gauge. At least in my mind I did, I don't know. I didn't use the like recommended yarn, and you were supposed to hold it with a mohair, but this was just such an expensive alpaca yarn that I just couldn't justify getting a sweater quantity of mohair as well. At the time, I'd like just come back from traveling, and I was like, I really want to make this jumper, but I don't think I can afford to make it with mohair as well. And I was hoping that like this yarn on its own would be okay, but just in hindsight, I really shouldn't have done that. At least I should have used a wool and not an alpaca, because the alpaca has so much more drape. And this took so long to make. I mean, I did it quickly in terms of like how many days it took, but like I was working on pretty much nothing else. And at this stage, I'm not going to do it yet. I'm not going to rush into doing it, but I think I'm going to frog it and I'm going to remake it, or I'm going to remake it using a completely different yarn. I still haven't decided if I want to reuse this yarn and hold it with a mohair, or if I'd rather just keep this as a good memory and make a new one with like completely different yarn. I'm leaning more towards the first because I don't want this to go to waste. It was expensive, so yeah. This is kind of where we're at with this. I still really love it, and it is really cozy to wear, but I wanted it to be something that I could wear in like not just at home. Like I wanted to be able to wear it out, and I just feel like it's not, like, firstly the sleeves are so big, it's not practical, the sizing is not right, it like falls off my shoulders if I like really let it. So yeah, it just doesn't fit exactly how it should, and I want it to. So if that means at some point when I have time on my hands, I am gonna restart it, or I'm gonna get onto it quick, like soon, so that way by the time it's like warm enough to wear it, it'll be done. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, kind of a shame, but you live and you learn, and it's all part of the process. So I'm still happy I've done it. I'm sure it'll be quicker next time because I've already made it, so I know all the cables and everything. So yeah. Also, the yarn, I actually have a spare skein. It's called Chaksa by like Alpaca Yarns, or maybe that's, no, I think the name of the brand is Chaksa, and then it's the Alpaca Air, which is a 12 plied. And it's like 80% baby alpaca. So like, I should have anticipated this, but anyway. So this is a improvised jumper. I kind of like to call it like the watermelon sugar jumper because these colors remind me of watermelon. But yeah, this was just like an improvised top-down stripy jumper that I made using Wool and the Gang Appuccino Merino in the shades Lime, Sorbet, and Cameo Rose, I think. And I really love this piece. I don't often knit top down, especially without a pattern, so it's not perfect, but I was pretty happy. It was also my first time improvising a top down jumper with like neckline shaping. Normally I just would knit top down and make it like reversible, but I went to have a go at that, and I think I did pretty well. I did attempt some like a jogless striping technique that like ended up, and I also like attempted to carry the yarn up, and it gave me this big line here, which I hope isn't so noticeable, but I notice it every time I wear it. But yeah, a lot of people have asked me if I'm gonna do a pattern for this. I'm not gonna write one. It's really basic, like a top down stripy jumper I'm sure exists already. Like I can already think of a few patterns that I think would get you a very similar jumper, and I just didn't think I'd be adding anything substantial to the pattern market by writing one. So yeah, that's why I'm not doing a pattern for it, but I still really love it, and have worn it quite a bit since I've been back from my travels, and I love this yarn so much. So it's an absolute joy to work with, and these colors are just so cute. So I always forget I have this, and I really shouldn't because I really need to wear it more. But this is another improvised jumper that I made. I probably started it last year and then like finished it early this year, so it counts. And this is a fisherman's rib jumper that I made, well, I think it's half fisherman's rib, that I made using hand-dyed yarn from the Knit Edit, Charlie, that I bought when she did a yarn sale. Came all the way from England, and it's just, oh, this color, like look at this colorway, like it's actually insane. I think it's called Ziggy Stardust from memory, and Charlie does a lot of fisherman's rib or half fisherman's rib patterns, and so I wanted to kind of pay homage to that, and I just improvised it, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out, considering like it's quite difficult to do shaping with fisherman's rib, but I kind of somehow managed it. And I did this cute little rolled neckline and these long cuffs and like balloony sleeves, It was a bit of yarn chicken involved with this one, but we did get there in the end, which is probably why it took so long. But yeah, I really love it, and this yarn is delicious. It's super squishy, and this stitch obviously makes it even more squishy, and it's super like, I made it quite wide so that it would be like really nice and like airy and good for kind of warm weather. So yeah, cobblestone cardi, also one of my first knits of the year. I love this design. It is a pattern by myself, and the yarn is the Fluffy Cloud yarn from Knitato, which was gifted and changed my life. I was obsessed with it. I still am. I haven't used it since, but I always intend to, so I actually just need to like get some more and like get that yarn back on my needles ASAP, because this was just an absolute joy to knit. It is so soft, this yarn, and it is super warm. And yeah, I really love the color blocking that I did and the cable design on the sleeves and on the front and on the back. So yeah, this is a really cute cardigan. I always wear it like buttoned up. I think it looks better personally for me, but you can definitely wear it open or shut. And yeah, I think I'm due to make another one because clearly I have a shortage of cardigans. I don't have a shortage of knitwear, but I have a shortage of cardigans. Happy hour jumper. I think this is the last happy hour design you'll see in this video, and also the most recent happy hour design that I've released. I am working on a cardigan version that will come eventually. But yeah, I made this in Hobby Diviner in the shade Primrose. I really loved the shade when I used it for the Magnolia top, so I was like, I want to make a whole jumper in this, and this has been a very special jumper for me. It is the only like knit jumper that I brought with me to Europe for 2 months when I traveled in summer. So obviously I couldn't bring a lot. I didn't need to bring a lot. I did wear it quite a bit in the first few weeks because, like I said, it wasn't as hot then, and it was my only jumper, so I did wear it quite a lot, especially at night. So this one really has been through a lot. It has gone all over the world. But yeah, so this pattern is also out. Definitely one of my favorite patterns. I love it. I love how the happy hour design looks as a jumper, and that's really all I have to say. This is the Josephine jumper, which is another one of my patterns, one of my more recently released patterns, and this was made using Ching Fiber Melted Baby Suri, 1 strand, in the shade Markut. I don't know how to say it. I just say Markut. I think that's right. M-A-R-K-U-T. And it's got the ballooniest balloon sleeves ever. I will never get over it. I just wanted to make the sleeves literally as big as I could make them without it being ridiculous. And it's super lightweight. I did a lace design. This is my first lace pattern. Like, this is my first pattern that I've written that involves lace. And it has my signature rolled neckline that I absolutely love doing. And it's just neon and bright, and it just brings me so much happiness. So does this pattern. I'm already working on a vest version as well, which I will get to finishing off in the new year. And yeah, I just love it. It's like a perfect like spring, summer jumper. Another Cara pattern. I think there's going to be a lot of Cara patterns just from the looks of what I can see in my pile coming up. So this was a test knit that I did earlier in the year for Cara. It's called the Drop It Like It's Hot sweater, and it is absolutely at the top, like very close to the top of my list of my favorite knits for the year. I am just obsessed with it. I think this drop stitch pattern is so sick. It's so trippy. I love it. I've worn it to death. I gave it a good shave recently because I had worn it to death and it needed it, and it's just been given new life. I wore this in a video recently, I think, actually, and yeah, this was my first time knitting with Albertine Merino, I think, and it just made me fall in love with the yarn. This is the shade Cornflower Blue, and this is the Lime Sorbet again. And yeah, it's just a wonderful pattern. I couldn't recommend it more. It was such a joy to test knit, and it's been such a joy to wear throughout the year. Again, another Cara pattern. I would probably normally wear like a single or something underneath, but once again, lazy. So just you'll have to deal with looking at my bra, but that's okay. I don't really care. This is the To Be So Lonely sweater. I really need to take photos in this. That's my like mission this summer. I'm going to get photos in this because it's a really great jumper to wear in summer. I find like for summer nights it's absolutely perfect because it does cool down, and like there is a lot of wind where I live, and at night you do kind of need something to cover up most nights. I mean, unless it's a really, really hot day. So this is perfect because it's got, you know, so many holes. It's very, very light and airy. The Melted Baby Suri yarn in general, it's not very sticky. I can't recommend this yarn enough. So yeah, this is Melted Baby Suri, 1 strand in the shade Cheese, and this is also probably one of my favorite knits, which is why it is a crime that I have not taken photos in it yet, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know, but I need to get the perfect photos. I need to do this beautiful yarn justice, so I will take photos eventually. So this is a long sleeve Benny sweater that I made, because there's also a short sleeve, like it's the same pattern but you can do a short sleeve, which I did, but that was a last year project, so it's not going to be in this video. But this is a long sleeve one, pattern also by Cara. As I said, like all these patterns that I'm doing right now are going to be Cara's patterns. I made this using Abbey Road Truly Madly mohair, which is now discontinued, so I got it on like clearance, so it was like $3 a ball or something, which is crazy for a mohair. So I was like, oh my god, I have to make this pattern. This did not cost me a lot to make, which is great, and worked up super fast. I've got to say the yarn isn't my favorite. I mean, it's discontinued, so whatevs, but it is a bit itchy. I think I'm a bit sensitive when it comes to mohair, so it's, yeah, I've got to just find the right top to wear underneath to the point where I can wear it, and it's not as annoying on my skin, because it is really nice and like soft and warm, but I think there's just like something in here that's like not agreeing with my skin. So yeah, I need it. That's just something I have to take into account when I wear it. But I love the bell sleeves. I think they're so fun and cool, and I also don't think I ever took photos in this, which is my own fault. I'm really sorry, but you're seeing it now, so yeah. Okay, so this is a hat that I made yesterday because I don't wear hats and I really need to, and there's a reason I don't wear hats is because I don't think they look good on me, and I don't know how I feel about this hat. But this is also a Cara pattern. It's the drop in the bucket hat, and I use like 1 skein of super chunky yarn from Cardigan, and it's not the pattern, it's not the pattern's fault, it's literally just that hats don't look good on me. I don't know, maybe you disagree that like it does look good, but I just can't, like, I don't know why, but I have a thing about hats and I just don't think they ever look good, and I feel so silly wearing them. So this one's gonna have to really like warm up to me. I'm gonna have to get some opinions. I don't think I've shown anyone yet. I'm gonna have to get some opinions on it, as to how I feel about it. If I don't think it looks good, I'll probably just unravel it and use the yarn for something else. But I just felt like I should make myself a hat, because if I make myself a hat, then I'm probably more likely to actually wear the hat. But I don't know. Okay, moving on to the miscellaneous category. We're gonna start with like the sleeves / shruggies / boleros that I've made this year, which actually ended up being quite a few because I just made a bunch. This was one that I started in Italy and then finished when I got home, and it's not perfect. It was my first time knitting sleeves. I used Malabrigo worsted in the shade Orchid, I think, and I used this cute drop stitch throughout, and this one can actually be worn like 2 ways. Like it can also be, yeah, like worn as like a bolero with an open back, or it can be worn like this. I actually wore this to the Billie Eilish concert. That's the only time I've worn it so far. And it's not perfect. It has stretched quite a bit. So yeah, but I am really happy with it still, and it's really cute. First pair of sleeves, so. Okay, so my phone just died. I like caught it, like I don't think it missed much of what I was talking about, but I do want to like get this video filmed, so I'm charging at the same time, which does mean that I had to take the microphone out because it goes into the same port as the charging port. So sorry that the sound isn't as great now. Yeah, my apologies, but it had to be done. Okay, next up we have this bolero that I made. This is the first in this style that I did, and it was using the, oh my god, Chopel Zorball cotton. I think that's what it's called. I'm really bad at remembering names, I'm sorry. It's this beautiful ombre yarn. I'll show you the back as well. It was all, I knit this like all in one piece, like there was no seaming, so that the ombre would really take its full effect. It's cotton, 100% cotton, so it's super great for summer. Like I made it, you know, I knitted it with like 6 or 7mm needles, and it's cotton, so obviously, yeah, it's great. I wore it the other day. It was quite a warm day. Fun fact, I think this shade is called First Day of Spring, and I got this yarn for my birthday from my boyfriend, and my birthday is on September 1st, which in Australia is the first day of spring, which was a total coincidence. So yeah, funny story, but this is also, yeah, a very special piece because the yarn came from a special person. So I had so much fun making the first pair that I had to make a second. I adjusted it slightly, like the pattern, the improvised pattern that I used, just to make it fit a little bit better, and this was the result. So I used the Ching Fiber pearl yarn in the shade Tamagotchi. So this is like a slub yarn with like these little bubbles throughout, and like this really cool texture, and I absolutely love this colorway. I only had one skein, so I was like, I don't know what to make, but this ended up being a perfect project for it. And yeah, this is the back, and it's super cute. I did make the sleeves a bit longer this time because they probably could have been a little bit longer with the first one, but you learn, you learn. So yeah, this is the second pair. Okay, I'm gonna get through these next ones quickly because they are all like exactly the same, just in different colors. So this is a improvised sleeves shruggy whatever that I made, and I ended up actually making 6 of these for my last market, and unfortunately I didn't actually sell any of them at the market. I'm still unsure if I'm going to save them for the next market or if I'm going to put them on my shop. I'm leaning more towards putting them onto my online store, but that won't be until I get back from my holidays, so it'll be like late January. But that's the plan at the moment, unless for some reason I change my mind, but at the moment that's what I'm planning on doing. So I made 6 of these because they work up so quickly. I actually did a video, how much can I knit in a day, where you could see I was making one of them, not this one, but a different one. So yeah, they don't take me that long, and I use 15mm needles and like super chunky mohair, so they're super fun to make, and I just like became a bit addicted, so I ended up like 6 in a week. This is the purple one. 4 of them use the Cardigan chunky mohair. I'll specify which ones. This is one of them, and then the other 2 use different yarns. So I'll say what yarn it is, but I'll get through the rest of them pretty quickly because they are all just the same but in different colors. So this is also using the Cardigan mohair. I think the shade is called Brick Red. You might notice that I've literally never knit with red, so this was quite different for me, but still very fun. This one is also from Cardigan. It's the one that I made in the how much can I knit in a day video. I can't remember the shade name, but it's obviously like a bright grass green. Definitely one of my favorites out of all of them. And this is the last of the Cardigan sleeves. So this is like a pastel yellow, which I also find really fun. I think this was like popcorn yellow, something like that. Can't remember, but yeah, also super pretty and fun. So this was my first and probably my favorite pair. Super tempted to keep them, so we'll just have to see. Someone else has to get them from me, otherwise at some point I'm probably just going to say, you know what, I'm keeping it, and I'll have no regrets if that is the case. These were made using Wool and the Gang Take Care mohair in the shade Lime Sherbet. I think this is Lime Sherbet and the other one is Lime Sorbet, and it's very confusing, but oh, I am so obsessed with this yarn. It is so soft. Like, it is definitely softer than the other ones. They're also super soft, but this one is just like on another level. And like some people I feel like don't really care, but for me, because like I am quite sensitive to mohair, it makes a big difference. That's why I'd be probably most inclined to keep these out of all of them, but I don't, as you can see, I don't really need more knits than I already have. But then again, I also don't have any mohair sleeves. But I am thinking about getting some fluff yarn from what's it called? Oh my god, Hip Knit Shop, which I think will be quite similar to this from what I've seen, and they have some beautiful colors. So I'm thinking about getting some of that to make myself one, and I'll probably film a YouTube tutorial on how to make these rather than writing a pattern. And then these I actually made using 2 strands of the Knitato Mohair Cloud, because I just didn't think one strand would be thick enough. So it does have a little bit of a different texture. You can kind of see the stitches a little bit more, and I also blocked this one, so that also probably contributes to it. There's fluff in my eyes. I've been taking on and off too many knits. I still really love this one. It's like a dusty pink. I just used like leftovers of the yarn that I already had. Okay, hopefully you can see this one. This is the Ready Set Go skirt by Cara's Knitting again by Cara. I made this one in Europe because I was like, I don't have a skirt. I just didn't bring one with me for some reason and I need one. I also did end up like buying a less sweaty skirt, but I did make this, and I used 2 skeins of Alpacino Merino in the shade Chalk Yellow from Wool & the Gang, and I literally just like was like, I'm just gonna make this as long as 2 skeins gets me, and this is how long it ended up being. I might actually block this to give it a bit more length and also stop the curling that's happening at the bottom. I've worn it. I wore it while I was away, but I think it could still use a block. I mean, I couldn't block anything while I was traveling, so we thought we had, but yeah, it's really cute. It's a made to measure pattern and fits perfectly. It's got an elastic and it just fits me like a glove, as you can see. And I had never made a skirt or like any bottoms before, so we have now. And my plan for this summer is hopefully to make some shorts, because I attempted to do that while I was traveling and it failed miserably. So we're going to attempt that again for this second summer that I'm having in 1 year. But yes, love this pattern so much. It's totally customizable, as I said, which I think is great. Okay, last but not least, definitely not least, this is my To the Nines dress, also by Cara. A totally fitting end to this video where like half the patterns are by Cara. But yeah, so this is my first ever dress that I've ever made, and it's using Take Care Mohair by Wool & the Gang, and in the shade, oh my god, bubblegum pink. I can do the full spin. You can see it's got a little tie at the back and little ties on the sleeves, which is really cool, makes it like very customizable. This was also made to measure, like the skirt, which I love. I've already talked about how much I love this yarn. I'm really happy that this yarn is as soft as it is, because this dress is like, you know, form-fitting, and if this mohair was not as soft as it is, if it was like at all itchy, I would just like hate it and I would never wear it. So the fact that this mohair really isn't itchy at all and is so soft and nice, but still really like airy and good for summer, is just, it's perfect. It's perfect because it means I actually will wear it. Oh my god, I can't believe we got through everything. And this is the final one. Oh my god, we got through everything. I don't understand how I managed that. That was a lot. The pile I'm currently looking at on my bed is so large. It's so scary because that's not even everything I made this year. Wild, totally wild. I can't even. I'm gonna wrap up this video because I don't want to make it longer than it needs to be. I will say just thank you so much for an amazing year. I think this, like, there was not one project really here that I was like, I hate this. You know, I love everything I make, and I really do my best to wear everything as much as possible. The pieces I don't think I'm gonna wear or don't need, I sell, and I really love knitting. That's why I have so many knits, because I just love knitting and I can't stop, and probably won't ever stop. And I am gonna have to at some point do a bit of a purge. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how much. I need to just figure out my storage space because it's not working at the moment. I probably won't be knitting as much for myself in the coming year because, as you see, I really do have a lot, and I don't, you know, there's only so much knits you can wear in a year, and I want to give every piece the love and wear that it deserves. So yeah, I think I'm going to be a bit more picky about the knits that I knit for myself next year, but I'm still probably going to be knitting heaps, and then just, you know, doing more like doing markets more frequently and whatnot, because we all know I'm not going to be able to just like to work on one project at a time or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, thank you for an amazing year. Thank you for like all the support on this channel. I only started it a few months ago, but it's been really fun, and I'm really looking forward to kind of leveling up my content next year. I think I'm going to talk a bit, I'm going to do another video where I talk about my like 2023 knitting goals, so stay tuned for that. I'll go like more into depth about my plans for next year, just in general for my business, my knitting, my channel, everything. But yeah, thank you if you bought a pattern this year and have supported me. It's really truly meant the world, and meant that I've been able to kind of spend most of my time doing this, which is just wild. And I'm so grateful. I recently hit, like yesterday, I hit 60,000 followers on Instagram, which is literally insane. So yeah, follow me on there if you're not following me already. I'm also trying to be a bit more active on TikTok, so you can follow me there as well. And yeah, check out my patterns, all the things, all the links are in the description. I'm gonna do my best to include links to all the patterns I mentioned in this video in the description. If they're not there, it's because it was too much work. But I'm gonna try go through and add the links so they're accessible to you if you are interested in getting any of the patterns that I mentioned in this video. Comment like if you know like how many knits you made this year. I haven't added them up yet, but I will add them up. So I'll put on the screen here how many projects I made this year. Hopefully this will be a number that includes the pieces I didn't show in this video. But yeah, comment how many pieces you made this year. No judgment if you made 1 piece, if you made 100 pieces. Literally, it does not matter. There is no competition here. I'm just curious to know. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.